Thanks for stopping by at Twisted Art Designs. I'm doing another prompt in the My Favorite Things art journal, and today's prompt is, what is your favorite bird? Do you like peacocks for their beautiful feathers? Do you like sweet fluttering hummingbirds at a hummingbird feeder? I love all kinds of birds. I have a little bird sanctuary right outside my window in my art room, so while I'm making art I can watch the birds. And I have two pet finches, Snippet and Neo. But my all-time favorite birds are owls. I just love owls. So grab your My Favorite Things art journals and your supplies, and let's get started and create a page for your book for what is your favorite bird. I'll show you how I created mine, and it's just for inspiration to give you some ideas, and then it's up to you to create yours. If you join the Facebook group, you can post what you've created. If not, and you're just playing along, well, thanks for joining us, and leave a comment below. Tell us you're playing along and that you're, whether or not you're enjoying this art journal challenge. And if you've just found this channel and you've just found this art journal challenge, there's a link below for the playlist for all the videos. You can start at the beginning and join this at any time. It's an ongoing project with no time limit. And so you can start at any time and finish at any time. So don't worry about catching up. Just play and enjoy yourself. I chose the three colors that I'm going to use on my background based on the color wheel. So this is a triad of colors. This is what I'm going to use. I've used a color wheel for years, and it really helps me in choosing colors that look good and makes it simple Simon. So what I'm going to do is just add some color to the background, and I want to do it in a couple of, I'm going to do it in layers, but I want to use a baby wipe because I want it to, the first layer to be thin. Baby wipe makes that, thins down that paint, and it makes it kind of translucent. So that's going to be my first layer. And where I'm putting that brown, I'm going to just come back and find a different spot in my baby wipe and do those patches of brown. I'm going to go a different direction just to add some interest. And I'm purposely making it in lines and swatches. I like my backgrounds to be as much of a interesting thing to look at as the focal that goes on them. And then with what's left on my baby wipe, I'm just going to go through and splotch a little bit of color here and there, even on the brown. It's a good start. And I like to let it dry between layers. I just think you get a better result. This is a Brea Reese texture sponge, and I'm going to just go back in that same green paint and I'm going to add some more green, but it's going to be a heavier layer, and it's going to be textured from this crazy little sponge. Can't say that I totally love this tool, but I'm using it. Backgrounds are just so much fun because it's about building up your layers. These are the stencils I'm going to work with. This one is from Prima. It's like a crackle. This is from Crafter's Workshop. It's the little squares. I don't know what it's called. And then there's this one that has some graffiti and circles and grunge to it. And this is a no-name one that I got on eBay a long time ago. It's just a made in China one. I think it was like 82 cents. So those are what I'm using to make my stencil marks. So it's coming along and I'm adding some layers. I've got a long way to go with this background. So I think what I'm going to do is take some Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2 in a couple of colors of a deeper kind of an olive green. And I'm going to add some layers with this. So I'm just going to color it on and use my finger to spread it out and blend it. You can also use a water brush, but just the warmth of my finger will make the effect that I'm looking for. And it is water reactive, so when you put down your focals, it may reactivate and move a little bit unless you spray a fixative over it, but I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do about that. I might leave it this time and let it just react and see what it does. It's the fun thing about art supplies is you just want to play around with them and use them in all different ways. Sometimes even try using them in ways that they're not even meant for, and you'll discover something really, really amazing. But I'm liking that because it's kind of just adding a little bit something. I'm going to do that, I think, all the way around the edge and make the edge darker. And they're great too for some random mark making. So if you like to have little random marks in your background, like just some circles or some lines, these are great for that. And then you can kind of smush them and blend them, and it puts them further into the background, but it adds some more interest. And I did decide to go ahead and use a water brush because I really like how it looks. So when I'm adding in the Neocolor, I can spread it out with my finger if I want to and blend it out, and that looks more grungy, and you can leave it that way. But then you can also come back in with your water brush and just kind of blend into it a little bit too. So you get both. You get the grunge and you get a blend. I love that. That looks awesome. Just kind of fun. Love Neocolors. They're great too for if you want to tone down, like if this blue is a little bit too blue and I want to kind of move it to the background. They work really well for that as well. You can just color some on, go right over that acrylic paint and kind of blend it out a little bit. Makes a wash because they're water reactive. And since it's acrylic paint underneath, the acrylic paint's not moving. And then see how that just toned down that blue and pushed it backwards a little bit. So see how bright this is, and that's toned down. So that they're good for that as well. So I love what the Neocolors did for the background. It really helped it a lot in my opinion. And now I'm bringing in a russet color, and I'm going to do the same thing in these little, just around the edges of the patches that I made with the terracotta paint. I'm going to just add a little more terracotta, but you can still see the nice pattern from adding that Neocolor over the top. And as a contrast, to make it pop, I'm adding some golden yellow. I'm going to just add some little pops of golden yellow. Look at how that just, ooh, I love it, love it, love it. I love that. That's what's so great about using Neocolors. If you just need a little tiny pop of color, you can add it by just coloring a little bit in and smushing it around with your finger, or adding some water and moving it. And you get this nice pop of color. And the more you put on, the brighter it's going to be. Oops, there was some blue Neocolor on this crayon, and that's okay. I like the little pops of yellow. Just adds a little something. Now I'm going to take a rubber stamp that's got a pattern on it that is like concrete, or however you want to, marbling. I don't know what you would call that. And Rusty Hinge Distress Ink by Tim Holtz. And I'm just going to go in and do some stamping on here to add some rusty color. Let's see if I can blend that out too. Yeah, while the ink is wet, you can also blend it a little bit, so that's kind of cool. So now I'm just adding some stamping. Now I'm going to take some watercolor paint in a kind of an olive green. I think it's a Winsor Newton olive green, and a soft watercolor brush. And I'm going to just do some washing of watercolor over this. It's just needing a little something, in my opinion. So I'm just adding some watercolor. Yeah, I like that. You know, and that's just it. You just kind of have to play around until you get it looking the way you want it to look. And sometimes that takes a lot of layers. Now I've watered down some yellow ochre acrylic paint, and I'm going to use a silicone basting brush that I got from the dollar store, and I'm going to do some splattering. I want some splatters, covering this up so it doesn't go onto my previous pages. Now I'm going to take my black Posca pen, and I'm going to go in here and just do some doodling on this background. So go around some of these squares and just doodle around on this background, maybe copy in some of these circles, but not everywhere, just in a few spots just to play. So now I'm just laying out my focals. They're from magazines. This is from a book of antiques. It's a painted wooden decoy from the 1900s, which is kind of cool. I'm going to add more to his eyes. There was this in a dictionary about nature, about burrowing owls, and just down the street from my house I have a field that is like a farmland field. It's just a small one. It probably won't be there for very much longer because they're building a lot. And along the edge of it are burrowing owls. So I call that street Owl Alley because you can drive down and the owls there's cracks in the ground from the water from irrigating, and the owls have gone down into the cracks and made their little nests, and so they're always standing watch, and it's just so cute. You can drive down the street or walk down the street early in the morning and they'll just be lined up just like this. So I had to add burrowing owls to my page. So I'm going to use these foam stamps. They are Tim Holtz foam stamp alphabet from Chronicles. I don't even think that these are made anymore. I think they were discontinued years and years ago. So if you find a set, snatch them because they are so cool. So they're just foam stamps that you can stamp on with paint. And I'm going to use them to stamp the word owls above this image, and I'm going to do it in white. Since there's white in this article, I want to bring that white across to the other side to make my layout look balanced. So I use those to stamp on my painted letters, and then I have glued down my images with art glitter glue. It looks like this. And I added, changed up the eyes on that owl where it was just white inside. And now I'm going to do some lettering over here. So I'm just going to use a Posca pen, and I'm just going to freehand do right over my background here some lettering. I'm going to use some colored pencils, a Lyra and two Caran d'Ache Luminance to do some coloring and shadowing in the background. And I'm going to go around these letters and around the images with colored pencil. And I'm using the colors that I used in the background, the same three colors. But to just go in here with my colored pencil and do things like this where I'm making those letters stand out more by shadowing them with colored pencil. Around the acrylic paint, it just looks really nice. Just makes them stand out a little bit. And just a little tip, when you're shadowing letters, you want to go just on one side or the other. You don't want to go around the whole entire letter. If you want it to be three-dimensional and pop off the page, you want to choose either the right side or the left side, depending on your shadow. And so see how I'm choosing the right side, and to the right side of every part, I'm coloring just that. And then it makes it look three-dimensional. I took a cream-colored Posca pen and feathered out those little feathers across that straight-cut line. And I'm going to do the same thing in black just to make it look a little nicer instead of just a straight cut magazine image. Give it a little character. Add a few strokes here and there, and like that. And the last thing I'm going to do is to take a Prisma Premier brush pen and make a black border. I'm going to just come out from the base of this owl and go right to the edge of the page and just make a black border. Sometimes I think that a border just ties in your page. So here's my completed page, and now it's up to you to create one in your art journal. Hope you had fun and that you're enjoying this art journaling challenge. Please leave me a comment in the box below and let me know if you're having a good time, and maybe if there's something that you'd like added as a prompt, give me some hints. I've got a list, but maybe there's something I haven't thought of. So leave me a comment for my favorite things prompt. And keep playing in your art journal. Have fun. Enjoy the process, because art soothes the heart.